I've seen 1917 twice now, and I gotta say, if I'd actually been able to see it in 2019, like I hoped to do, it would have been one of my favorite movies of the year, but I didn't, because Cineplex is a little bitch. I saw it on its Canadian opening night of the 10th of January, and it was really good. Yeah, that's professional. I've seen that director Sam Mendes is up for a Best Director Oscar, and I honestly think that he has a pretty good shot at winning it, because this movie on a technical level is one of the most impressive movies I've ever seen. Not just because of the whole one-shot thing, because it has been done before, but the reason that I like the one-shot technique in this movie so much is it doesn't actually actively call attention to itself. Every camera movement is done for a reason, and it all just flows so nicely, and it really works. Beyond that, the cinematography of this film is just phenomenal, because, you know, when you've got Roger Deakins shooting a movie, it's guns to look good. He's also been nominated for an Oscar, and I really hope he wins that, because Roger Deakins can do no wrong as far as I'm concerned. The soundtrack for this movie is really good. There are some really interesting bits that play as they walk through no man's land. Like, there's one bit that plays as they approach a German trench, which begins with this ambience and slowly builds to these really loud violins. Then there's the score that plays over the sequence where Schofield's just booking it across a field as explosions surround him and soldiers run. Just by the way, that sequence of him booking it across the field with all the soldiers and explosions around him is one of the most exhilarating things I've seen in a movie, because the camera is steady on him and the music is swelling and you feel the urgency of his mission, and it's just, oh. The movie actually carries a lot more emotional weight than I was expecting. I mean, my original expectation was just, we follow these two guys, but like, despite the fact that we don't know much about them and their characters, you're still emotionally invested in what happens to them. If I'm going to discuss more, I will be going into spoilers. So the non-spoiler version of this is, if you've not seen it yet for some reason, I highly recommend it. It is a technical marvel. It is a gorgeous movie to watch. It is a bit icky in places because this is World War I, and it makes no bones about the fact that World War I was fucking awful and stupid. But yeah, no, it is a really good movie. It's one of my favorite 2019 movies now. So yes, go watch it. Please do yourself that favor. High recommend. Anyway, moving into spoilers. When I say that it's one continuous shot, for example, I really actually kind of think that's not true. There's a reason that I'm putting a technical thing in the spoilers, because there's a bit where one of the characters gets shot and the bullet bounces off of his metal helmet, but like the force blows him backwards and he cracks his head open on the floor, and then it cuts to black, and then he comes to, and it cuts to a shot of his face. So the fact that the movie isn't exactly one continuous shot actually works almost in a drama way for the movie, because it cuts and that jars you out of this shot that's been going on for so long, and it works. Yeah, it's really effective in making you go, oh shit, and then he's okay in the end, but he's got a whacking big wound on the back of his head. But like, yeah, no, the fact that there is a cut somewhere in the middle of the movie is a deliberately jarring choice, and I actually quite liked it. Moving on to the actual story and stuff. The story is really simple to follow. It's just like, as I've probably said earlier, two guys just wandering through no man's land trying to get a mission done. Although by about 40 minutes into the movie, it's just one of them, because one of them ends up dead, and that's actually kind of a painful scene to watch, because you're just watching this guy bleed to death, and he's going through all kinds of stuff, and his friends trying to make sure that he's like emotionally okay as he dies, which, I mean, you're never going to really be emotionally okay when you die, but you know. So that scene was kind of sad to watch. And then the story becomes a lot more tense in some ways, where we're watching just this person completely alone make his way through the fucking war zone. And there are so many things that they run into that you watch and you're thinking, well, how the hell did they get out of this one? But nothing is forced in that respect. And as I said earlier, there's a lot made about how awful the war is. For example, towards the end, Schofield, that's his name, runs into a French civilian living in the bombed out remains of her city with a baby girl who's not hers. The mother died at some point during the bombing, and the civilian doesn't know who this girl's mother was. There's that. There's the fact that most of every character who's in this movie is super jaded towards the war. Like at the end, Benedict Cumberbatch shows up and he just gives this thing about how every time he's told to fall back, he'll just be told to advance later. It's a bit more subtle a telling of all the problems and horrors of World War I on a political level than, say, Paths of Glory, to the point where I saw some people try and claim that this movie was implicit to nationalism because it doesn't address the topic. I'm like, shut up. I also actually, on that note of Benedict Cumberbatch, really like the small bit parts that they gave to more popular actors like Andrew Scott, Benedict Cumberbatch, Mark Strong. I wasn't expecting Mark Strong, I gotta say. And I really actually thought that Andrew Scott's character was hilarious. I mean, there's very little levity in this movie, but when it happens, it is a godsend because this movie it's sad. And especially when Schofield makes it to the battalion he's trying to stop from going over the top and stops them. He finds the brother of the guy he was sent with, and you have this moment of him having to go up to this man and be like, your brother came with me, but he died on the way. Yeah, no, I saw it twice, and I am gonna be honest, I nearly cried both times. I'm a big sissy boy. But yeah, no, this movie, on top of being a technical tour de force, is also a bit of a punch in the gut. Those are my more spoilery thoughts. If this movie doesn't pick up some cinematography awards or directing awards, I'll be very, very upset. The more I think about it, the more I decided that Sam Mendes does deserve Best Director for a 2019 film. I mean, Once Upon a Time in Hollywood is still my favorite 2019 movie, but this one is, if I were to do that list I put up again, it would be running pretty close to the top. So yeah, I just want to recommend this movie again. I really want you guys to go see it. Do yourself that favor. And if you've already seen it, let me know what you thought. I'm open to the discussion. I really am. I'd love to talk about this with you guys. Yeah, this was probably less than coherent, but I'm trying to make this one of my shorter videos because I just put up a fucking nearly hour-long video and I'm pretty sure no one's to hear it from me. I've got some other things in the works. Once the overhaul arc on My Hero Academia is finished, I'm going to be talking about that in great length and detail and hopefully comedy, because I think I'm funny. And yeah, until then, I'll see y'all later.